guys, welcome to Let's Simmer Down with, and today we have a very special guest on the show, the one and only Pinstar. You might know him as the Legacy Challenge creator. Welcome, Pinstar.
Hello, hello. Thanks for having me on here.
Well, thank you for taking the time to sit down and answer some questions.
No problem.
Well, first off, how are you?
I'm doing very well. Had a little struggle to get the kids down to bed, but
Yeah.
I think they're sleeping soundly now, so we should be in the clear.
Good. Well, I can always edit a little bit, or if the viewers don't mind, they can always hear some kid sound because I got my own kid in the background sleeping. So for those who don't know, tell me a little bit about you. Who is Pinstar?
Well, I've been a gamer, a geek, ever since I was little, really. It's been sort of my hobby of choice, computer games, video games, just about everything of that genre ever since I was old enough to play them, going all the way back to the original Mario Brothers. And I am currently living the ultimate gamer geek dream, having married a gamer geek, my lovely Christina. AKA Imagining Mystic. And I have two geeks in training, Alexander and Cooper. My eldest is Alex. He's 3, and he's a little clone of me. And he's proving surprisingly adept at picking up Banjo-Tooie on my old N64.
Yeah, Banjo-Kazooie?
Yep. Well, he's playing the sequel more than the original, but he likes that series. We're going to make his 4th birthday Banjo-Kazooie themed. I think he's going to get a kick out of that.
That's a pretty cool idea.
Yeah.
You say he's a little clone of you. What do you mean by it? Is that a good or bad thing?
Mostly a good thing. Although I do, it's good in the sense that he looks just like me. 2, he has a lot of the same quirks and traits that I had when I was his age, which is a good thing and a bad thing. A bad thing because I know he's going to be a handful, and a good thing because I know exactly what to expect. Right. Because I kind of did it to my parents.
Yeah. Oh, now you're tasting.
And now I'm getting the revenge. But no, he's a good kid.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he's going to become as good as a gamer as his dad is.
Well, once he's old enough, I'll have him apply to the stream team.
That's a good idea. Well, since this is mostly a Sims show, tell me, how did you get into The Sims?
Well, every little kid has an idol. You know, it might be a parent, might be an older sibling, it might be someone famous, or just someone they want to emulate and be like in everything. When I was little, Will Wright, the founder of Maxis and the creator of the SimCity series, was my childhood idol. Just flat out, Will Wright. I remember a series, an assignment about where in elementary school where you had to write about your idol. And at the time, I did not know the proper term for a video game developer. So I said I wanted to be a videoist because I thought that was the proper term for someone who makes video games, just like Will Wright. So I pretty much snapped up everything that Maxis made. And so when they announced The Sims and this digital dollhouse game, and some people are like, "What's going on with this?" I'm like, no. He's onto something big. He is onto something big, and I snapped it up day one and absolutely loved it. Was not disappointed. It was definitely a game changer.
Some kids, especially little boys, they dream about they have idols like Superman, Spider-Man. Nope, you had a game dev as an idol.
Game dev, absolutely.
That seems to be a pretty cool thing too. So tell me about your Legacy Challenge. How did you come up with it, and did you think it would get so big?
Oh man, well let me answer the first part of that. So I didn't come up with the legacy challenge until The Sims 2, namely because the mechanics for it at its heart didn't exist in The Sims 1.
Right.
So about a month after The Sims 2 came out, I had been playing the game like crazy, and I found myself kind of at a loss for what to do. I'd kind of explored every nook and cranny of the game, made my families rich and successful, and raised large families, got to the top of careers, got the reward objects. I mean, I'd pretty much maxed out the inbuilt challenges of the game.
Right.
But rather than putting the game aside, I wanted to try something. I wanted to sort of challenge myself, see if I could do something a little bit different. And I noticed that most of the time I had been quitting my families after my original Create a Sims had either died or just became elders. And I was curious to see what would happen if you kept playing. If you actually let them die, let them stay dead and play as their kids and then have their kids have kids. So I sort of... that was kind of rolling around in my head, and then I was just reading through some sort of strategy guides and some stuff about under the hood game mechanics, and I saw this article about how they were doing paintings and how paintings accrue in value rather than depreciate like all the other stuff.
Right.
And that just sort of planted the seed in my brain. It's like, man, how valuable would a painting be if you kept it in the family for like a bunch of generations? And that's kind of what sort of started the seed. So when when I started making it just sort of a self-imposed challenge for myself. I saw how easy it was to, basically within the first generation, you get yourself hugely rich. So I started coming up with other little goals and restrictions and challenges to, it doesn't matter how rich you are, it can still be tricky to pull these things off. So randomly on a lark, I was just sort of maybe I'll do this. Yeah, why not? I'll do this. I wrote down, I actually put this challenge that I've been playing myself onto paper and just decided I'll throw it up on the forums and see if it gets any replies, see if it sticks.
And did it ever?
I posted it in the in the evening. I woke up the next morning before going to classes, and it had exploded. 300 replies in the span of a couple of hours overnight, when a lot of people are not necessarily on there. And I'm like,
cow.
Oh my God, what have I done?
What have you spawned?
Yeah, so I did not expect it to be that popular.
Right.
But people were just asking, it's like, oh, can you do this? Or can I do that? Oh, hey, check out this thing. And I did it. I'm like, whoa.
So I'm assuming a lot of... did all the variations of the challenge come from people who tried it as well? Did they suggest a lot of things that you introduced into the challenge?
I think a lot of it, if you to sort of make a weird comparison, like how French cooking has sort of like the mother sauces, and then you can combine them with other ingredients to sort of make specific sauces on for your dishes. The Legacy Challenge is sort of like a mother sauce. Like there's a lot of legacy challenge flavored challenges out there, and I'm not trying to like detract from their originality. I mean, some of these challenges are extremely creative, extremely unique and original. They borrow some elements from the legacy challenge, but they do their own thing, and I think that's great. I mean, I absolutely love that the community has sort of created a boom of challenges that were some legacy flavored, some were completely unrelated to it, but it just became a thing. And I mean, it became its own section on the message boards. Post your challenges and your questions about challenges here. So it became sort of a cornerstone.
They became the children of your own challenge.
Yes.
Yeah, because if you browse YouTube, there are so many challenges out there. There's like 100 babies challenge and the
babies challenge, the Uglacy, the
there's the matriarch and a patriarch challenge. Is that that's part of your challenge, but it's as a side challenge if you...
Yeah, well, I introduced the concept of handicaps, which are sort of a
Right.
voluntary extra restrictions that you could put on yourself just to give your legacy challenge a little bit more flavor.
Hmm.
So I put in the matriarchy or patriarchy optional restriction where only Sims of one specific gender could be your heirs. So
Hmm.
if you were having a drought of that gender, you'd have to end up having a lot of children
Yeah.
until you produced an heir of the right gender. So it added a little bit of a challenge.
Yeah, definitely. Um, and speaking of YouTube, you've started your own tips and tricks videos on your YouTube channels. One channel.
Yeah,
Do you-
yeah.
your only channel. Do you think this will be some of many videos to come? Do you have bigger plans for that series?
Well, it's sort of testing the water, trying to sort of experiment, see what works and what doesn't with The Sims 3.
Hmm.
I am planning a series of videos. It's not going to be a full, extensive strategy and tactics series like I've been doing for some of the other games, like Warlock 2 and Banished.
Hmm.
But I'm going to do probably a series of probably 3 or 4 videos. The first one I've already gotten produced. I just need to polish it up and finish up the editing and whatnot. And it's going to focus on some strategies surrounding getting started with the Legacy Challenge and how to get yourself on firm ground financially. The second video, I'm going to be showing you some of my tips and tricks with relationships in The Sims 3, how to sort of supercharge them and make friends really quickly, find yourself a spouse really quickly. And then the third video, which might be the third and fourth video, depending on how much content I have for them, is going to cover families, how to deal with children, how to deal with multiple toddler and below, twins and triplets and
Right.
other nightmare scenarios, and then also how to groom your children through the toddler through teenage years so that when they turn into an adult, they have a ton of advantages and they can sort of fire on all cylinders the moment they hit adulthood.
Right. That's pretty cool. Do you think you'll be doing a video on the Legacy Challenge rules instead of people having to read the rules on the blog? Because you do have a blog, the simslegacychallenge.com. Do you think maybe in the future you could do a video about introducing...
That's actually funny you should mention that. I'm actually planning that for The Sims 4.
Oh.
When The Sims 4 comes out, I will be adapting the Legacy Challenge for the new game mechanics and all the new stuff with The Sims 4, while still keeping to the same spirit of the challenge.
Right.
And then in terms of presenting the rules to the community, I'll still have them in written form because some people just like to load them up, print them out, put them by their computer, and start playing.
Yeah.
But others might want a more visual tour of the challenge and sort of a more hands-on description of how the challenge works and what's changed and what's new and what's not new. So I will absolutely be doing a video. That being said, I would not be opposed to doing a video on how the Sims 3 Legacy Challenge works, how to get started and whatnot. I mean, in a way, it's my strategy videos are going to sort of give you a little tour just with a strategic focus because I am abiding by Legacy Challenge rules. So it's just showing you on some of that. But I can do a just sort of more of a general guideline for that and also go over some of the scoring stuff. So that is definitely something I will be keeping in mind. But it's definitely something you'll see for The Sims 4.
Wow, that sounds like pretty intensive research for the first few days because this game is really in depth.
Oh man, I'm going to be taking a couple of days off of work when the game comes out. I'm going to be playing it pretty much nonstop and just try to explore every nook and cranny and finding little ways to integrate the new game into the challenge and have it feeling fresh but still feel like the Legacy Challenge. I need to sort of strike a balance there.
Maybe I'll have to create a sim and wait until your video to actually learn everything about it.
No, what I'd recommend is just create a random sim. Don't call him your Legacy founder, and just dive in and just get yourself familiar with it. And then once I get the Legacy rules out, then you can make a new sim and go for that.
Sounds like a plan. So you're putting out videos in an ocean of female prominent Sims community. Do you think this is an advantage or disadvantage to you?
You know what? I'd say either neither or both. I don't really cater to one gender or the other. I don't, consciously say, oh, well, I should cover this because my women viewers will like this or the guys will like that. I just do what I do, and whomever likes me is and follows my stuff it's good either way. I find that your average Sims players and what they like is kind of nebulous. I mean, some people play it like a game, capital G game, and try and find some sort of high score. Get millions of simoleons and buy up every deed in the entire town and basically own the world. While others are perfectly content to spend half an hour trying to pick out the perfectly matched wallpaper, floor covering, and furniture for their new sunroom. And I mean, there's no right or wrong way to play.
Yeah.
Now, the videos that I'm doing right now cater more towards the people playing it as a game and trying to win, quote unquote, or just improve their play strategically. But I can tell you, once after I finish my Legacy Challenge rules videos for The Sims 4, I am going to be doing a full Let's Play Legacy for The Sims 4, and in there I will be balancing both strategic considerations and also just sort of aesthetic things.
Right.
I'm building this room not because it makes me richer or gives me more points or gives me this. But you know what? Darn it! This room needs a plant, and I'm going to put a plant there. It looks dead without that plant.
Yeah.
So I'll be covering a balance of those of the strategic with the aesthetic in sort of my full Let's Play.
That's pretty good. Yeah, I was kind of mentioning this because there are so many female players out there. While it's rare to see men play that game. I don't know why, because this is such a really, really cool game. Maybe they have the kind of feeling that they're playing Dollhouse. I don't know.
Well, you know what? I think it's useful in bridging a couple of sort of gender stereotype games. Because I mean, prior, 5-10 years ago, the sort of the general thing is boys play games. A girl being into video games was kind of seen as that's kind of weird. And I'm not speaking for myself. I'm just saying just sort of general societal things. Yeah. But then you take the other sort of general societal thing. Girls like playing with dollhouses, or like playing house, or like playing with this, and you put the two together in the same game, and now you have two societal gender norms clashing with each other. Here's this digital dollhouse, which is supposed to be for girls, but here's this video game which isn't supposed to be for girls.
Yeah.
And you know what? A lot of statistics I've seen on the game actually put the gaming population for the Sims series at about 50-50 gender-wise. Now, that's a little bit more female-heavy than other genres of games. I don't think you're going to get a 50-50 mix in Call of Duty, for example. But it's sort of like a gateway for some girls who may not have ever played computer games because they thought they weren't supposed to, or that it was abnormal or whatnot. Now they had this excuse. Hey, here's this game, but it's doing stuff that I like. And even then, as the sort of the society as a whole matures, it's hard to say that playing this type of game is going to specifically cater to one gender or another. There's nothing. I could see a guy going on with this and wanting to design outfits for their Sims just because they look good. There's nothing, it's a game that you play how you want, and I think that's why it's so universally appealing.
Yeah. It's just a shame. I find that there's not a lot of men doing Let's Plays. It's hard to find them because there's so many Let's Players out there. You're usually going to fall on a female person and rather than a male person. So I wish, and if there are players out there that are listening right now and you're a guy, go right ahead and make a Let's Play video and put it on this link and we'll show it to the world.
Yeah, I'm not too sure why. I haven't really extensively followed the Let's Play scene in regards to Sims videos, so I'm not too sure why where there'd be a sort of an imbalance for Let's Playing. But hey, I'm happy to put my stuff out there, and if people are interested in it, fine by me.
Definitely. So your favorite Sims game and expansion?
Favorite Sims game, I would have to say my loyalty still lays with The Sims 2. I like The Sims 3, but 2 was the original. I mean, 2's where the challenge got started. 2, there's a lot of things in 2 that I really, really liked that 3 kind of emulates, but doesn't quite do it to the same extent. Now, granted, there are some things with 3 that blow 2 out of the water. Having to wait 3 minutes just to leave your house. And 2 was, I'm glad you don't need to do that, because I actually spend time visiting the town in 3.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I would definitely have to say Sims 2. But I'm seeing a lot of good stuff with 4, so I'm keeping that open just to see based on how 4 hits me.
And your expansion?
Open for Business.
Oh, really?
Yes, loved Open for Business. It's just that there's a lot of flexibility in what you could do, and I just liked the feeling of making sort of like a little home business for my Sims, and working on their skills and working on just sort of the logistical stuff with that. Coming up with sort of a theme for your store, and it also added a variety to the socialization options, because now suddenly you had the salesman customer relationship while you try to sell the Sims your stuff, and it required a bit of a different approach than, say, finding a romance partner or just building up friends to satisfy job requirements. So it added just another dynamic entry into the game. So I liked that one. I definitely did. With 2 honorable mentions, Nightlife for The Sims 1, because it added a humongous overhaul to the socialization system, added the sort of the short-term relationship, long-term relationship bars, and sort of just it added the conversation topics and interests system, which I found made it a lot more interesting. And then the other one is The Sims 2 University. Mainly because I got invited to the symposium, which was the pre-release event for The Sims 2 University about a couple of weeks before, and I actually got to meet Will Wright in the flesh, get his autograph, shake his hand. I totally blew the moment when I said, I'm going to be dignified. I'm not going to geek out, and I totally geeked out. I'm like, oh, Will Wright. All right, can I have your signature? I love your work. I'm like, oh my God, did I just say that to my idol? Did I just have a geek breakdown?
Yeah.
But he played it off just real. He's a real nice guy, real laid back. So yeah, I really liked that expansion. It also was the ground for my not quite as popular, but I still enjoy it just as much, my Apocalypse challenge, which was based off of the mechanics introduced with The Sims 2 University.
What's the Apocalypse challenge about?
Well, basically, you start. It's sort of like a legacy challenge in the sense that you start with a founder, but you start with them in college. And in college, there's largely very few restrictions. You can go to classes, pick whatever subject you want, skill up, build up your money, do whatever the heck you want. But the minute you graduate college and move home, the theme of the event is the world blows up, in the sense that there's like this big nuclear meltdown, and it's like a nuclear apocalypse that your Sim's now living in. And there's a ton of restrictions, like really, really basic stuff that you're no longer allowed to do or
Uh-oh.
use. And it's really, really hard. Now, the way the challenge works is that by getting to the top of a specific career, you unlock some of the things that are restricted by that career. So, for example, what's a good one? So, if you like, you can't take showers,
Oh,
and you
right.
can't. That's a huge one. But when you reach the top of the health profession, it said that your sim masters the hospital system and works to bring sanitation back to the neighborhood. So now you can buy and use showers. So that makes it sort of lifts that restriction
Right.
from you. And then each of the different careers lifts a different set of restrictions. And the goal of the challenge is to lift each of the restrictions, with the caveat being that each sim can only lift one restriction per person. So you actually have to find a spouse and have children so that your children can unlock additional restrictions while still all having to abide by the ones you haven't unlocked yet.
Wow, that seems pretty in-depth.
Oh, it is. It is brutally difficult compared to the Legacy Challenge, and I made it that way. You have to strategically decide which restrictions you want to unlock first, which ones you're willing to live with and try to work around.
Can we find that challenge anywhere?
It should be on my site. I will double check it. If it is not, I will get you a link to it or put it up on my site.
That's great. That's great, because I can see a lot of people getting into that.
Yeah.
So last but not least, what tips or advice would you give to someone who is starting their own Sims videos?
Well, I would say this: be invested in what you're doing, but don't be an absolute perfectionist. Doing videos is sort of a skill and an art, and like, think of it like a sim trying to play the guitar. If what you normally do is, if you just pick up the guitar without doing anything, 0 skill points, it's going to sound horrible. But if you get your sim, whip out a skill book and get 2 or 3 points in their guitars, and then have them practice the guitars, it doesn't sound bad. It's kind of simple. There's kind of some rough edges, but it's the only way they're going to get better is by practicing. So a lot of people I've seen fall in the trap of, oh, I made this video, but I sound horrible, or I don't like the way I sound, or I don't like the way it flows, so I'm not going to post it, and I guess I'm not any good at that. The only way you're going to improve your videos is by practicing and posting, because the posting is what gets you feedback. Positive and negative. And don't be afraid of negative feedback. Negative feedback, constructive criticism is golden. You will learn a lot about what you're doing well and what you're not doing well, and that way you can focus your efforts on how to improve yourself. You're not going to sound professional quality with your first few videos. I mean, I've been doing my videos since March, and I still have plenty of rough edges that need polishing. But I just keep at it and slowly improving. So that I hope to get to somewhat of a professional level as I do more and more and become more familiar with both the ebb and flow of a video, and also my recording and my editing software, and learning some of the advanced tricks and tips and other doodads for that. So make videos, post videos. Don't be afraid of comments, good and bad, and just stay engaged and keep at it, and you will improve over time.
That's great advice. Thank you so much.
No problem.
So that brings it to the end. Thanks a lot. It lasted a little bit longer than expected, but that's great because you gave us a lot of information about Sims 3 and 4. I was not expecting you to do that video for the Sims 4. I'm really excited about hearing about that.
Yeah, well, actually, that's the first I've made it official. So breaking news. You get to run with that.
Yay!
But yeah, I'll have more. I a lot of the details about the Legacy Challenge for The Sims 4 are dependent on a lot of the gameplay details.
Yeah.
And at the moment, I am not privy to any more information than the rest of the world. So I can only make sort of guesstimations about what the challenge is going to do. But once I get my hands on it or some preview stuff, I can start building proper.
Yeah. So that's going to be really, really interesting. I'm so excited for Sims 4.
Absolutely.
So thank you very much again, Pinstar, for taking the time to answer all these questions. And if people want to reach you, where can they do that at?
You can find my YouTube channel with both my Sims videos and all my other non-Sims videos at youtube.com/Pinstarch, Pinestarch. I tried to do Pinstar, but it was taken by a bowling company. You can follow me on Twitter at Pinstar. And if you have a question for me, you can drop me a line at my email address. That's pinstar@gmail.com.
Great. So people can look for the links down in the comment on this video's link. So thank you once again.
No problem.
And we'll see
Thank
you
for having me.
Well, you're welcome. And we'll see you around the community for sure.
Absolutely.
See ya.
Have a good one.
Bye.
Bye.
What? What the fridge?